Wagwan. Big up on yourself, you know, we're there again, up and running like how the sun up and burning. Hear me, people, big up on yourself. You don't know, say a cutting edge in the night here again. Yeah, man, you don't know the thing go already recording in real time. So all you have to do is just like, share, and subscribe. You don't know the thing go already. Make sure you like the video, please, and thanks. Blessings.
Mutabaruka, and you may know by now that Muta is actually off on the big cruise. How are you doing, Muta? Interestingly enough, usually when I'm in for Muta, it's a quiet night. Here we are now, and Shane Clark is in, and I'm very, very happy. We're not making him go nowhere. He's gonna be here. But for joining us on the 107s. Interesting segue. But we're also going live to the telephone lines for our first interview, literally this early in the program, because this is important. Give me chronics. Where we have chronics now, Shane? All right. So listen, one of the things that we know more than anything else, and this is something that we're paying close attention to here on the island, it is egregious. Yes, it is. It is concerning. It is also, for me, an urgent matter. How we're going to deal with this is going to be very, very important. I'm talking about social media now, and I'm talking specifically about TikTok. Now, we have to talk about TikTok. Remember, we have to have that. Jamaican TikTok is different from almost any other. Well, I suppose Nigeria's TikTok is can go down into that rabbit hole. But we're having a situation, a few, I think it was last a year and a half ago, or early this year, I was so upset, I know, and I made a call, not on this program, but on the Africa Forum. One of the things I said, and I spoke directly to the Prime Minister because I was so concerned about what I was seeing in the social media spaces, but specifically on TikTok. So I called for one or two things. One, monitoring censorship, for children especially, or one of the things I said, we would have to make a decision as to whether or not we would lock this off for a minute, figure it out, and come back. Why was that important to me? That was important because I noticed, especially among children, that the virtual fights and the virtual couscous and cascas on TikTok, that was making its way into the real world, and that there was an overlap where you couldn't differentiate, and not us, but the young ones who were carrying the fight from their conversations that turn into conflicts, that turn into cussing from TikTok into the real world, into the school compounds, onto the school compounds, and the school corridors, and so on. And I was very concerned about that. By the way, at that time, it wasn't as pervasive as it is now, because it has moved not just with the children, but it has moved to the adults, because TikTok is monetized and you can make money from it. And it's a space where everybody's at. Now, there are some things that's happening on Jamaican social media and within the Jamaican social media spaces that we have to talk about. It's not just TikTok. We saw on live just recently, a young man was killed, and there was a shooting, and he was literally on live when that happened. Outside of that, though, many arguments, many conflicts have been taken from that social media space into the real world. There's a reason for that. There's something happening. What I was happy to see, that there within Jamaican TikTok, and social media spaces, there were some sane voices who are themselves, they've gone viral hundreds of times, and they've been in this business for a while, who have come out to say, listen, let us have some reason, caution about what's happening on TikTok and what's happening in the social media spaces. And one such person, do we have him online? One such person is Rashan Barry, YouTuber and social media personality. And I want to go have that conversation with him. after the break. So we take a break and we come back. He's one of those who went online, went into the social media spaces to say, listen, caution, hold your brakes. We take the break and come back.
All you want for Christmas is at
Shane is here with me. Shane is in the studio. I won't tell me to tell the truth. We're not going to let him go. He's going to be here. Even though right now I'm just playing the wrong track. But, we can get cut the chronics now, Shane. All right, here we go. No. All right, we're going to go to the phone lines where I'm not quite sure what is happening with chronics this night. We really want to play chronics. That is how I feel about the thing, Shane. So we can't get it? No. She's still loving me. That is what is playing there by somebody. All right, on the phone lines, though, and I know that my brother Rashan Barry knows why I want chronics as he joins us on the phone lines, YouTuber and social media personality. Right, Rashan, you know why I want chronics, don't it?
For that song?
No, not that one. Yeah, man, yeah. Do it for the love, not for the life. Yeah, maybe I'm going to have to ask you to sing it.
Oh, no. The voice. I'm just going to, just use the weather, the inclement weather you want. Yeah, man.
All right, you're good, but I promise I'm going to play chronics tonight, come hell or high water. Well, come anything or high water. But anyway, it's so good to have you back online because I don't know if you recall, but I might have been the very first person to interview you as a social media personality. Now, go in your mind and remember.
That would have been way back, centuries ago.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I was doing a program called Sex Wise. It was on Tuesday night. Monique, remember the Monique group that was in the studio? And
yes.
All right.
That's a long time
Thank
ago.
you so much for that because you brought social media to our space. What you did that night when the Monique group was there from the Monique College, what you did in terms of how you were posting and what you were saying and how you were feeding back. And as you said just now, that was ages ago. That was YouTube, and we didn't even have the kind of instant gratification that we have now. But that is to show also how long you have been in the space. You recognized a long time ago, Rashan, the importance of this alternative media. What opened your eyes to this, and where and how impactful it would have been?
I think it is just a gut feeling. I'm the type of person who I'm constantly thinking about what is next. And so I'm always exploring and looking in society to see when the shift is happening. Because I wouldn't want to be the person that is an after the fact person. Mm-hmm. I'm the person where if I hear about a hurricane, I'm starting to ensure, say, okay, where I'm at is safe and I have all of the things that can keep me safe around me. Mm-hmm. And so at the time, I remember the conversation being, about everyone, wanted to be, a doctor, lawyer, teacher, was those type of professions. Mm-hmm. And I had a few friends who would have been living abroad mm-hmm. and who were kind of telling me bits and pieces of what is happening with YouTube and what is happening with social media. And so at the time, I remember, being unemployed, after going through the route of, pursuing academia at the college level, etc., I realized that, it was a little bit difficult and challenging to get a job. Yes. And so I decided to wait. Let me have all of this free time. Let me actually go and put my effort into this new creative online thing. What do I have to lose? And luckily, I didn't know I was really one of the front runners, especially here in this Caribbean space, in terms of new type of media. And so, I had no idea what was to come at the time. There was no monetization options for creators on the YouTube platform, but we've seen how the space has evolved since then.
But you envisioned it, because I remember the conversation that you envisioned that at some point this would be monetized. And I remember you having those discussions in the very early days. I want to congratulate you on your forward thinking and the fact that you're visionary, but also that you're also very responsible. When and we're going to come to what we're going to talk about, but when I saw you on TikTok talking to Jamaican TikTok, I said to myself, it had to be you. It was going to be you. You were going to come out and you were going to make the statement. What in the name of everything that is good and some not so good is happening in the Jamaican TikTok space? Why is it, and this is against the background, that we have people now being killed, murdered on live? We have all kinds of conflicts moving from the lives to the real world, and we have some serious conflicts on the live themselves, even though they haven't yet spilled over into the real world. Walk us through what led us here. How did we get to this place?
Okay, so let me just say that TikTok is a microcosm of the society, and sadly, when I eventually ventured over to putting content on TikTok, I realized it really did it has a different audience. You get me? They have a different appetite, so it's more instantaneous, and they refer to TikTok. A lot of the users refer to it as media. They don't refer to it as social media. So if you speak to a lot of the young people and people know, they said like, hey, I'm gonna really talk things on the media. No, for many of us, I'm looking at that as like traditional media, whether it be in print or something that's a lot more formal. They could just be talking about a WhatsApp story. I'm not really share my food on the media. And so when you hear that word and that type of thing in the vocabulary, don't take it lightly. What this is really saying is that this is our new TV and our forms of entertainment. And so we want to see the media know in terms of what show will I be watching on Netflix. I'm not going to be doing that now. I have a TikTok. And with that, sadly, many times when you watch shows, we watch shows with characters who might be entertaining, but not good for society. You want to look at the Joker, right? And so what people are doing now, if you're scrolling, people are doing the most ridiculous things to ensure that it grabs your attention and you stop. And so whether you love it or you like it, you are glued to it almost in a way that you're watching a show. And you know how Law and Order would normally start out and they would show like a bit of the crime and then it hooks you. So you want to find out who did the killing. That's a similar thing that is happening to TikTok. And so what happens is that just like in many of these shows where you will watch it and recognize that the villain would be a side piece of the show, but in real life you would not want to be friends with the villain. TikTok has no given space for the villains to now be the stars.
Yes, and so, I'm so sorry that I have to take another break, but please bear with us through this night. It's going to be that until we get as much information from you as possible. So bear with us. We'll take a quick break. Well, not a quick one, a kind of longish one. I'll be right back. We're working out for Mutabaruka, who is away on the Big Bad Cruise or the Big Good Cruise on the high seas, and on the phone lines we have a very special guest, Rashan Barry, YouTuber and social media personality. We have an urgent matter that we're discussing. It's an urgent matter of national importance. I think it is this important for us to have this discussion. I know that Rashan has the very same thinking because he's gone out ahead and has already made a public statement on the social media to Jamaicans on TikTok. Rashan, thanks for staying with us. I know that it's a busy night, so we appreciate your time.
Yeah, man, it's no problem.
Yeah. You were explaining to us, how we come to be where we are. And one of the things that I noted that you said is that the young people who have embraced the social media, that for them, this is the media. This is a totality of the media. From where you stand, what does that mean for legacy media, for the so-called mainstream media who are not necessarily participating in this space, and even if they're participating in the spaces?
What it really means is that we now have a culture where people would rather not to see all of the checks and balances. So like when it comes on to what is facts, what is real from what is fake, people only want to see things that entertain them, whether it be good or bad. Before with legacy media, there would be a steady balance. And so you would have where we would be informed, with information from our parents. I remember just being a kid and I would still have to be listening to stuff from JIS or like other type of media that I guess would balance out all of the information that I would be consuming. But no, people are not watching that one TV as a unit. We're all able to separate and go into our different worlds. And so for a sector of society, this immediate ability to be in people's home and to actually watch them on a day-to-day basis, it is something that is addictive. So much so to the point where people feel as if they are the directors of the story. And so you go on TikTok, and even before many of the people, they're using it as a profession now, but they're trying to avoid the traditional 9-to-5 system. But on TikTok, in order to really be good and make a name for yourself, you have to be there pretty much 24/7, especially if you want to earn a decent living. And so what you find is that you have an audience who is able to see every moment. Just think about if someone were able to follow you around each day, see when you got angry, see when your mother or your brother or your sister is interacting with you, see when you're getting upset with a coworker, they're able to watch that. Now imagine the audience that is also the one that is I guess allowing you to live that life by sending gifts, aka money. They're also playing the role of a director. So they can say, if you want me to continue to give you money, I want you to curse that person. Mm-hmm. And if you hurt them, I am going to shower you with more gifts because I am watching you for entertainment. And many a times these TikTokers don't know to distinguish between real life and the social media space. So it becomes a performance. And so I had this idea that back in the day you'd have Pasa Pasa, and TikTok is basically the tenement yard of Jamaica. And so that same tenement yard culture and that same video-like culture, people want a space. Every Jamaican feel like they're a celebrity, and TikTok has given them that immediate access. And so when you mix that with an audience, with an appetite to just watch things and to see things as entertaining, you find the instances where, I'll tell you the other day, somebody was being thrown out by a family member, right? Mm-hmm. They actually went live.
Yes.
Think about, would you do that?
Well, I watched that.
No, but you watch it because
I wouldn't go live, but I know
you wouldn't go live in the moment, right?
No, I didn't.
Exactly. But imagine if you're scrolling through the channels like a TV and you see a scene like that, you stop.
Yes.
And for all of these TikTokers now, they know that if I do that, I could get a better way to get gifts from the public.
Yeah, there's a lot to come out of it, right, Rashan? Which is the gifts from the public, the monetizing it, the fame or infamy, whatever it is. But but people become instant stars. They also become rich. Some become wealthy. In this space, one of the upsides, and let's just have a conversation about it, because I find that a lot is citizen journalism, I'm calling it, because a lot of these TikTokers who are the same one who cussing here, left, right, and center, and half naked in places and so on and so forth, that when something is happening, when news breaking, you can always go to TikTok and find 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 live. And you can sit down and just watch that unfold, like the Mandible, was it Mandible? Spalding? Yes. Right. And Rashan, help me to understand the point that you have so many TikTokers, a lot of Jamaican colorful bad words in the coverage. And but it is proper coverage. I'm a journalist, I'm a trained journalist, I train journalists. I'm telling you, it is proper coverage. If you take out the bad words and one by one, and even with the bad word, it's still proper coverage. And there were some people who were holding their phones for hours, trained on the scene of a crime. But explain to me that point where even those who had broken in and committed a crime, that they themselves went live on TikTok. How we begin to understand something like that? That those who broke in, those who the police come for, who barricade themselves in this place, they themselves went live on TikTok.
Yeah, because you do have as I said, it is psychology. A lot of it is manipulation, and people know exactly what they're doing. So the same way how I said, if I knew that somebody was throwing me out of my house, I will go on TikTok, even though it's a sad occasion. But a part of it is that when people see that I'm in this unfortunate situation, I'm going to have the most amount of viewers on my live, and I'm going to end with the most amount of money because there are going to be people who are going to be sympathizing and want to assist me. So if I say, hey, I want to be put up in a hotel, they'll be there. For those individuals who would have been criminals, they're very much also aware that the protection that will come from it.
Yes.
Because they know that they'll be able to do this now. So if the police force was going to probably do something that might not be by lawful procedure, they'd kind of be protected by
whatever. Ask questions later because they have been told to shoot and ask questions later.
They would be protected by all of that. And so you even have individuals now telling stories on TikTok about, like, you have criminals on TikTok who are sending threats to other gangs while being on the app. And so sometimes the JCF has said that, the social media has made it even easier for them to apprehend them because people are blindly going live. Some of them are 3 o'clock in the morning and they're just brandishing weapons. Sometimes some of them, they're either high, under a vibe, and they're talking about their deeds, giving story times because they're like, okay, people want to hear this, without recognizing that, hey, in no other generation you'd have a bad man that would be publicly just detailing all of this information to the public like that. But with this incentive of getting compensation, I think a lot of people on TikTok, forget that.
And death threats, people sending death threats. So it takes us to, and our condolences to the family of the young man,
Naya.
Naya Gang, who was killed on live. I mean, I know for a lot of us it was frightening. You heard the sound and you see that them run and you see the whole thing, but you can't believe that really and truly this is an actual crime being played out in front of all of us eyes. This led you to make an appeal. There's a reason why you made this appeal, because as you are laying out for us, this in the Jamaican TikTok space, in terms of the conflicts and the cussing and the threats and the way we're treating each other, is more pervasive than we think, right? Than we are. Talk to us about that appeal. I watched you. I felt how genuine you were, the sincerity.
Yeah.
What did you say? Let our listeners know, and why.
I think it was just a cry to the TikTok community, to the Jamaican TikTokers, and to ask them to conduct themselves a little bit better on the social media app. Many of them would have been sending threats, some of them saying things below the belt that in any other space would probably, incite some sort of act of violence or, confrontation. But many of them have been emboldened to just speak and to spew any and anything on the app because, I guess in the moment they forget that they also exist in real life and aren't an avatar. And so it was just a cry, hopefully, that, they would conduct themselves moving forward a little bit better so that you don't have any more situations such as what happened with Naya Gang. I know, will they change? I do not know because, as I said, sadly, when it comes down to Jamaica, and money, and you bring in opportunities and there's a hierarchy, it usually ends up like this, right? The why it hurts me is because as somebody who would have grown up very middle class, the minute I recognized that I could have left from college unemployed and I had to try out the social media thing and realize it could actually create opportunities for me, I immediately talk about the inner city persons who sometimes don't have the access to education, but they do have their innate creativity and a skill. I felt that they could just go to an audience, find an audience, whether it be that they know to sing, dance, or act. They could go on a platform and engage people internationally and gain some momentum and betterment for themselves. But no, it has really become, as I said, a very tenement yard type of structure where I need to get this neighbor out and I'm going to do any and everything. I'm going to scandal them, I'm going to bring them down. And it has now become that space. And it's very unique because you find that other regions are not getting to this extent on the app. And so it's a very Jamaican, focused thing. And so that is embarrassing just to see that Jamaicans are carrying on.
It is also embarrassing. It is true. It is also embarrassing.
Yeah.
And as you said, it is very Jamaican. And the deeper you go, the more fear you feel about how this might spill out into the real world, not just among adults, but also among young people, because young people are on the app. Are you concerned that there is this discussion or this policy in the U.S. now, which looks like the U.S. will ban TikTok if they're trying to steal it from the owners, aren't they? And so the background to that, of course, But are you concerned about that and how that might impact Jamaica? Because obviously it will.
Yeah, the impact. Jamaica, the Jamaican streamers would still be able to have access, right? Because we're in Jamaica. But the majority of the gifters, and so the gifters are people who on social media are known for their role as giving these TikTokers money by either sending them gifts. So each of these gifts,
like Nicki Minaj.
Yes, so you will have something like a rose that might be like a couple cents or $1, and it can go up to like a lion that is over 300 USD, right? And so for most of these gifters who would, send these tokens to the Jamaican TikTokers, they're based in the United States. Many of them are based in the United States, the UK, and Canada. But the bulk of that support comes from the United States. So it will affect these TikTokers. They might have to pivot and go to another social media platform or find another profession. And so, and then what will happen is that there's going to be even a greater rush or competition for the remaining gifters, because if you know the whole atmosphere in the States, then it's going to be a very much dog eat dog.
Exactly. So I'm coming to it. So it's more competitive, and it is what it is already in terms of that tension that is spilling over into the real world. That a situation like that, I think, would probably drive that tension even further. Is there a role, do you think? Because when last year, I got pretty concerned about what I was seeing on TikTok, because I went down all the rabbit holes and I was shocked. I came on my program on a Sunday morning, and I kind of made a call speaking directly to the Prime Minister, which was to say something has to be done. There has to be some kind. I never want to use the word censorship. We don't like it. But how do you moderate this space? How do you protect children in this space? We see what's happening in Australia right now. We don't need it to be that stringent. But how do you protect children? And how do you protect us from ourselves in terms of what is happening in the virtual space that's spinning out into reality? Is there a role, do you think, for government in monitoring this space?
I'm very much, pro free speech, but, there is a responsibility that comes with that. And for many people who, declares free speech, a lot of them, they don't understand with speech also comes responsibility. I think we could take the Australian model, because on TikTok, it's just a different world. There are kids who are dancing to TikTok songs that are very sexually suggestive, explicit, but they have their parents in the videos. So I have to recognize that they got consent from the adults around them, and we are not a culture where kids are allowed to use expletives around their parents without backlash. There are students who are going live in their uniform that are sometimes entertaining conversation. One young lady and one person who I guess is an aspiring content creator was going around and asking the young ladies in their uniform when to detail what age they lose their virginity and who them lose their virginity by. One young woman proudly declared in her uniform that she lost her virginity to an adult who was about 30. This would have been a child that's around probably like 15, 14 years old, right? And so this is all, sometimes I wonder, what about the school? How are they able to, what are the measures there to ensure that while you're in class, and if you're going to do a video, this either has to get approval, but you can't be talking about sexually suggestive stuff while in a uniform, while on the campus.
And that is a scary thing for me. It's the scariest of all, what I see coming out of the schools. Teachers dancing with young men, with female teachers dancing with young men. But if you listen to the lyrics of a song that they're dancing to, and this is a viral TikTok videos, this to me is scary in terms of where
virality is the currency. That's sad. Virality is now the currency, so it's very easy to forget that, hey, maybe this song is not appropriate. I can remember even when I wanted to engage in certain things, I would have to ensure that the song was at least a clean version. No, for many dancehall artists, they don't have to do a clean version, because where the culture is right now is that there's this freedom that whether you're 0 or 100 years old, there is no difference. We all consume the same content. So if I am an adult and I'm consuming something that is grown, my niece or nephew or child can also consume the same thing. And so this now has to be what the Jamaica Teachers Association, in terms of what kind of policy that they can pass on to the teachers to ensure that, hey, if you do want to interact and to connect with your students, also to ensure that it is one approved. Sometimes they think about the legalities of, like, does the parent sign off on their child being put out there? There's so many things. There are kids who are on the app that are being immediately contacted by adult men and women while they're in their uniform. Some time ago, there's a guy that went viral that would have been a teenager, and women were saying that they're going to send the money they don't mind, pay for him to do this now, and they can do this and that with to them. And these were grown women. Grown women, and because of that immediate access. So there are many things to consider, but this app is very different. It is very unique, and it's just that many of the parents don't understand it. So these things will continue, and I honestly don't know what is going to be the best solution.
Well, you are already on it. You're an influencer. You are somebody who has the eyes and the ears of a lot of people within the space. I saw you, and here you are. I'd like to invite you in the studio and have a 4-hour conversation where we open the phone lines and have parents and children and everybody call you, because you have answers and you have a pretty good idea, especially parents who don't have a clue what's happening on the smartphone that you've given to your child. How critical it is for you to be aware of what's happening. Rashan, it's a joy talking to you, and I really want to invite you into the studio. So let us have that conversation. Let's continue this.
Sure.
Another day, I'll invite you in the studio. It's a public invitation. Please accept it.
Yeah, and hopefully the listeners, they enjoy this conversation. And any other, if you want to reach me, it's at Dirty Bear Show. On social media and on YouTube. And thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this discussion.
All right. So this is Duty Berry at Duty Berry Show. Yeah, it's a Duty Berry, because we say bookman duty. Anyway, Duty Berry, give thanks, Rashan. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you so much.
All right, cool.
We have our next guest on the line. We have Devon online. Sorry. But Devon, I know me and Shane going to have a little back and forth, and I know that you must have been listening to what Shane was saying and the concerns that we have about what's happening in the spaces with our young people, especially on TikTok and so on. So that's why I bring you up for now. So if you want to jump in with me and Shane for about 2 minutes, you can. But Shane, this is something that you are witnessing yourself, right? You're seeing this in the spaces.
Yes, man. Because it's like I'm on TikTok myself. I have a teenage son, who attends high school. So I try to keep abreast of most of what's happening. And, really, as you say, it's alarming. It's like it disturbing. Some of the stuff is criminal.
Yes, it is.
You know,
Some of the
it
stuff you see, and
really,
it's
yeah,
really
man,
is, and so
it really causes you to wonder. And then the popularity of these people.
yes,
And so you have to be aware as parents in terms of know how to gauge yourself and the atmosphere and the social sphere that we're living in now.
Yeah,
to,
people like Devon,
to be able to have a conversation with your child.
Shane and Devon, I know at Jabem, you know, we're fighting for the rivers and the seas and the trees and the environment and so on. But we can hardly get our young people, our young children, preteens and teens
to get out of the house. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I was just saying that to you not too long ago that my son, he's like, sometimes we have to be trying to get him outside if we go to some exercise activity, you know, because like him would be there and, you know, him will be doing work.
And he's brilliant.
Time, you know,
Let us just say that he's brilliant.
But 3-4 devices in front of him.
Yes.
And him having
in disruptive innovation, Devon.
No.
Like,
even a scientist in disruptive innovation.
And stuff. So it's like, yeah, man, sometimes we really have to be trying to get him out of the house more, you know?
Yes.
And, you know, thankfully, I'm not one of them disruptive kids, you know?
No, I mean disruptive innovation. That means when him finish, this is going to be earth-shattering, like what Devon do found.
Yeah, man. I mean, like in terms of behavior.
Yeah, I know. And he's brilliant. I mean, he was the top kid in Jamaica for
and still is a top kid at Ocherous High School.
Yeah,
he just made
top of his class.
Principal's honor roll.
Well, look at that. I congratulations, Sean John.
Men in his class who, like, they are always top of the class, 1, 2, 3. You know,
look. So this is what we have, you know, our brilliant students, our bright students, and our children. But this is a whole new world, and we are going to talk about it because everything I think is happening the way it has been programmed to happen, and this is the sadness of it. One of the talk about programming. Early this year, the World Economic Forum, and I know Devon don't want me to start there, but I'm starting there, Devon. The World Economic Forum.
You're just up in a regala tonight. I mean.
Yes, big A. So I have all my colors, and it's true enough. Don't me wear my red, green, and gold. So I'm going to have to calm down. So the World Economic Forum, along with the WHO, the World Health Organization, they met at Davos, right? And the purpose of that meeting was to discuss preparedness for disease X, because they said that a disease was coming called disease X that would be many times more dangerous than anything that we've ever seen, and that would result in a pandemic of proportions that we can't even, compute right now. We discussed that on Running African. When they did, we had that whole conversation. But in the last few days, we see coming out of the World Economic Forum, out of the World Health Organization, and who is the other one again? It's three of them. The United Nations is a fourth. That they're now saying to us that disease X is here. And this is why we have called our scientist, or resident scientist, Dr. Devon Taylor, who is a senior biomedical research scientist in immunology, working in the biopharmaceutical industry in the United States. He holds a BSc from the University of the West Indies in biochemistry and chemistry, and an MA from the City University of New York City College in biochemistry immunology. He gained his PhD from the Graduate Center, City University of New York, in biochemistry, immunology, B-cell biology. We're reading out all of it to make you know what I'm talking about. And the regulation of autoreactive cells in the autoimmune disease lupus. His postdoctoral training is from the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine, where he studied T-cell immunity and immune tolerance, how T-cells are controlled. He has over 20 years of experience in all areas of immunological research, inclusive of protective immunity, autoimmunity, inflammation, immuno-oncology, and transnational, is transnational they pronounce immunology. And he is a volunteer member of a team of scientists and clinicians at the University Hospital of the West Indies that have collaboratively developed a COVID-19 convalescent plasma clinical trial. The team was led by Dr. Gillian Wolf and with the executive leadership of Dr. Carl Bruce, CMO at the University of the Hospital of the West Indies. So we went through all of that because we really had to draw for Devon. Normally when he's on in recent times, we're talking about access to the beaches, to the seas, to the river. We're talking about the colonial laws that are still on the book. We're talking about human rights and climate justice and environmental justice and so on. But we met Devon through this process, right? And have had many conversations with him during the COVID-19 pandemic. We didn't agree on a lot of things, but what we did agree on was the far-reaching knowledge that Devon Taylor has when it comes to issues like these. So Devon, against all of that background and with that long introduction, pardon me, what are we looking at here? I know, start, if you will, at why are we calling this disease X and what is it? Where was it found? What is it?
Well, give thanks for the kind words, always good to engage on all fronts. So, so basically still, disease X is not defining, a particular disease. It's basically a concept, a placeholder concept that refers to a potential pandemic pathogen that has not yet been characterized or identified. So it's kind of hypothetically saying that there is this disease X that is going to emerge, is emerging, and it is going to be very dangerous to human life and human existence. And the World Health Organization coined this disease X concept, right? Just to represent a knowledge that a serious pandemic will emerge on the planet, from a pathogen that we currently don't know, but will cause a very serious disease on the planet.
All right.
Right?
I want. Okay, go ahead.
And they're doing this because they're trying to push healthcare system to be proactive in their thinking, right? To really kind of have the scientific community not really to be wedded to a list of pathogens that we know, such as the SARS family or influenza, but saying that something is coming, all right, that we know it's going to be wicked on this planet. So let's be prepared. And when it emerges, it's going to be this disease X before we fully understand and can characterize what it is.
All right. So what they're telling us now, and we have this coming out of all of these agencies, the CDC, the WHO, the WF, and the United Nations, that in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, there is such a disease. And they have said that this is a disease X.
Yeah. So, we don't know a lot about this. So if we can kind of take a couple of steps back to try to understand what is known, all right? So this outbreak, came around late October. It's kind of tight between October the 21st to the 24th in southern, Congo, right? In a province that they call the Congo province. And, this is the province also where monkeypox, pandemic started in Congo. And this area is pretty much, there's a famous river that runs through it that borders with Angola. And this disease is showing the symptoms of fever, severe headache, running nose, body ache, nausea. And people are having a very difficulty breathing. And there is also severe anemia associated with it. And of course, anemia is just a reduction in your healthy red blood cells. You lose hemoglobin, so you lose the ability to move oxygen into your tissues. So it is presenting itself with some very serious symptoms. And
there have been many deaths, right? Over 100 deaths, right? So go ahead.
What we report right now, and we have to really take a lot of this right now with a grain of salt, because our team has just kind of gotten in there recently and is really kind of doing the work to understand how many people died. But they report this this data is current to around the 5th of December, that about 406 cases that they have really identified. They have seen the death rate is around from 31 to 143. That's the range. Now, I want to put this into perspective. If you had 406 cases and 31 of those people died, that's a 7.6 fatality rate. All right? Meaning that for every 100 people, at least 7 is going to die. But the other extreme end, where people on the ground are saying there are more than 143 people have died out of the 406 that were infected. That puts us at around 35% fatality rate. Now, in COVID, it was 1%. If this thing is at 35%, then we're in some really serious problem.
Hold, because I know that you have to work early tomorrow morning. But all right, here is the thing. There is, you mentioned that river between Congo that flows from Congo all the way down to Angola. There, Joe Biden was just in Angola. He was there because of the Lobito project. They're building a railway line from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the very same place where they say they have found disease X, that is so many times deadlier than COVID-19. So from Angola, Rwanda, Zambia, from DRC, Rwanda, Zambia, all the way down to Angola, and that river that is taking you to the Lobito port and into the Atlantic Ocean. Could it be that strategically there is a plan to lock down this area, as China is operating in this area? China has been operating in this area from 2000. This is the area that all the minerals come from that we use, the coltan and the cobalt and the gold and every single mineral you can think about. This is where the majority of the minerals come from for what they're using in the laptops and the telephones and the 5G technologies and so on. Could it be, Devon, do you think, I think about it as we go into the break, that this is a deliberate act to lock down that corridor, to allow for the United States, the US, and the EU, the UK and the EU, to lock down this corridor, to allow for them to cement the Lobito project into place, and they have brought the fight to China, as you know, but also to render China impotent in the space if this is locked down, because there is this massive pandemic, the one you just described to us, or epidemic that you just described to us, that has a potential of becoming one of the worst pandemics we've ever seen. So let me take the break and come back, Devon, please. On the cruise, and who should be back next week, on the phone lines, a very patient scientist, Dr. Devon Taylor. Are you good, Dr. Taylor?
Good.
Aquaba, welcome. Me and you gonna have a talk with Muta. Yeah, and Shane.
We have to.
Yeah. So Devon, so just to remind our listeners, we're talking about disease X. And what is disease X? Why is the Congo outbreak raising alarm? And it is raising alarm. Dozens of people, as you heard from Devon, have died, and hundreds have been struck by a flu-like illness, which is dubbed disease X by the WHO, the CDC, the WEF, the United Nations. And it was first detected all the way in October, but it's coming out now in a whole big fanfare right now at the time that the European Union, the United States, the UK are engaged in a project for the minerals of the heart of Africa from the Democratic Republic of the Congo all the way down to Angola, called the Lobito project. Your thinking on this, is there a connection, do you think, to this? As I know you're a scientist, but put on the other hat.
So before I put on the other hat, I want to just kind of finish up a part here and who this disease is mostly affecting. So the report is saying it's mostly affecting children that are, under 5, and also, a big cohort also are kids 15 years old or younger.
Oh.
And so, that's the cohort. And there's this cohort is highly malnourished because there's severe food insecurity that is in this southern part of.
There's a human rights atrocities that are taking place in the Congo right now. Just to remind our listeners that there is an artificial war that is being waged in the Congo, where rape is being used as a weapon of war. And we've been talking about that. So the situation is severe. That is the context in which all of this is happening.
It is severe. And so it is no, surprise that the most vulnerable in the population, which are the kids, are being impacted severely by this. And just to also put the disease, the unknowns in context here, because, there's speculation that there could be a number of, different illnesses happening at the same time. So there's suspicion around, acute pneumonia. We don't think that, that is it. They're speculating influenza, COVID-19, measles, malaria, all these kind of things. But, the time in which the deaths are occurring, which is within 11 days, is not really pointing towards these things. Now, we know that, acute pneumonia can arise because of, several viral illnesses, and that could be so. But the malnutrition is what I think is causing most of the kids to really succumb to it, because malnutrition basically destroys your immune system.
But are they saying that it is contagious, Devon, that it is highly contagious?
It is contagious, it is. And so, it's airborne, right? So a big component is also the respiratory illnesses that are coming with this, which is the acute pneumonia. And you're just kind of, your lungs is being destroyed. So, it's a lot of problems. This is a health catastrophe that is not, dealt with quickly, really can get out of control. Now, listen, this region, as we know, historically, all right, is just the plunder, that this region has seen because of its mineral wealth. The region is rich in natural resources. We know that 2 of the, most important rare earth metals, coltan and cobalt, that are in all of our electronics are coming out of this region. All right, that particular region there is some of the biggest diamond mines and gold mines are in that zone. So we understand this Lobito project, and what it is trying to do is to further extract the wealth out of Africa.
Exactly.
All right, so it is an ongoing plunder in the region, and this railroad is going to facilitate a faster movement of these resources out of Africa while the population suffer, while the people suffer, and the land is also paying a price. Because, the region where this, river sits is a breathtaking landscape, all right? And this region, it had more than 6.53 million hectares of trees, and they're removing them, okay, because they're trying to get access to the resources within the space. So,
and this is urgent.
it's
There's an urgency, isn't there? Because China has banned, in response to all the threats coming from the president-elect Donald Trump, to put this heavy tariff on Chinese products coming into, or China's product going into the United States, that China has immediately, with immediate effect, banned some of these very same minerals to the United States. So there's nowhere for the United States to access these minerals, and there is a great urgency because China isn't waiting until January 20. They have already banned them. All of these minerals we're talking about, the coltan, all of these rare minerals that America needs, that has happened already. So there is an urgency. And this is why my thinking, and I hear the point you're making, and agreeing with us, that there seems to be a connection between these two things. But let me ask you this, because if there really is a disease, you're a scientist, they say there's a disease, people are dying, they say it has a potential of being a pandemic. They already warned us that there was going to be a disease X. They have used this very same phrase to identify this disease, to say this is a disease X. What could be the thinking beyond that from your experience? Is there a possibility that this could widen into the pandemic that that caused a shutdown, 2-year shutdown, like we see with COVID, bearing in mind that you also just said where COVID was 1%, this one is 35%. So can you imagine?
Yes, I mean, the potential is there. Now, because we don't really have a good grasp of what's happening on the ground, and this is kind of like some of the needs that I think Africa needs to focus on, its own emergency response to these kind of pathogens. So we are depending now, even though, the entire planet is part of the whole network, who is now on the ground and who is now collecting samples. Samples are being sent to several labs across the world for, ascertaining what this virus or what this pathogen could be. Now, if the region had its own testing facility and were capable of doing this, let's say we had what we call a next generation sequencing technology that is available, all right, and with the wealth that sits in the Democratic Republic of Congo, they could have bought 50,000 of these instruments and could have been detecting anything out of their own country, in real time, because within 48 hours you can get an answer if you have the right technology in place, and that is not there. So we have to be dependent again on these external forces to come in to really tell us what's going on while they plunder our resources. So if we don't get up, control of this and understand what it is, it can leak out. All right, and I'm sure people are moving out of this region already. And so, I mean, when it's been over a month that this disease has been running around in this province, and I'm sure people have left and gone outside. Mm-hmm. But if it is going to be a pandemic, it is already outside of the region. Mm-hmm. And this is why you find...
Well, Biden was there. Biden was there, and so too was Jill Biden, and a whole slew of them. Remember, they're just coming back from Lobito. So then probably
they're just coming back from there.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it is possible. We know that Hong Kong has already increased in screening in its port, and Japan has issued travel advisory because, anything that is coming out for Joburg and Addis that goes into these Asian countries are being heavily screened. Because, what they're screening for right now, we don't really know, because if we don't know what this bug is, then they're just taking caution because they're looking at temperature rise and other illnesses.
My thing is that if they're not screening Biden and Jill and that group that were there just last week in Lobito, they don't need to screen nobody. And the other thing that I'm thinking too is that I don't know if you recall or you heard that hundreds of vials containing live viruses have gone missing from a lab in Australia. and that they can't find them. Queensland Health Minister announced that 323 samples of live viruses, including, only you alone are going to recognize these names, Hendra virus, Lissa virus, Hunter virus, went missing in 2021 in a serious breach of biosecurity protocol. They are just reporting on this week, and they have not been able to find the viruses. They said the breach was discovered in August 2023 with nearly 100 of the missing vials containing Hendra virus, which is deadly. 2 of the vials contained Hunter virus, while 223 vials contain samples of Lissa virus. What are these things? And could there be, in terms of what you know about viruses, you recognize anything on how serious are these viruses that gone missing from?
No, I mean, yeah, these are very, very serious viruses, all right? These things cause a lot of pulmonary damage. I mean, very similar to what we're seeing here, where, you have pulmonary edema and just acute pneumonia that's killing, the patients from that is reported here. Those are not things to play with. I mean, absolutely not. So
are you serious, Devon?
Those are very, very serious virus. Antivirus is not something that you want to deal with out there. I mean,
is the fatality rate of these viruses very high? Is that what you're saying, that you get these and the likelihood of dying or suffering is pretty, more or less?
Yeah,
happening?
It's serious death. Absolutely. I mean, those are, of course, can be used for bioterrorism. All right. Who would steal those kind of viruses? Somebody who have high skills of manipulating and handling those kind of things. You can't let that go into the population. That's a serious problem on Earth.
So this is our disease X? This is our disease X?
Well, I mean...
hold your dissension. let me take another 8-minute break. I'll be right back. Can you hold?
Yeah, man.
All right, thanks. Kabu and Shane in for Mutabaruka. Muta will be back with you next week. Online, Devon Taylor, scientist and research scientist, we're talking about disease X and looking at it in the widest possible context, especially looking at it through our Pan-African lenses, our activist lenses, or critical thinking lenses, and deeper thinking lenses. Not a lot of time, Devon, but I know, and thanks for holding. I know you were responding to a point I made, but I also want you, when you're doing that in the last few minutes that we have, to include a point that Shane and myself have been discussing off air, that there is this thing now that is coming out of the UK and out of the United States, where even today I think there was a congressional hearing about it. All these so-called UAP drones over New Jersey and New York, and also the RAF in London. They're making a big stink about this side. To me, it is much ado about nothing. But could there be a connection there in terms of all those missing viruses and all the what we're hearing from WHO about a disease X? Could they be doing what they did to the Jamaican coconut and orange and all those trees? Could they be using those drones to do that in New York and so on?
Well, in this day and age, anything is possible. But we are in a very interesting time of science on our planet, and science being used, as we know, in warfare. And is the poor suffers from it, from these consequences are evil countries, in Africa, which is rich and have a lot of resources, because we have not been developing our resources, because these countries, Europe has never given us a break. All right. I mean, the continuation of their colonial exploit really hold back Africa. And when we try to break free, they come at us again. and all these conflicts that are never ending on the continent that is perpetuated by just, Europe and America, does not serve to allow us to develop and to just imagine the world we want to live in. Now, I mean, all these, unidentified ERL phenomenon and all these things that are moving around are, an attempt to really recolonize our land by, hurting, our people through, not being able to really determine our own science. I have an issue with that. Mm-hmm. And that's why, myself being in science, will advocate that it is a space that can offer, some solution, to, what's going on the planet, that we can be the masters of our destiny. Marcus Garvey talk about these kind of things. We need to really control all these spaces. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what these governments are doing and what they're flying and what they're delivering. All I can say is that if we build our nation, that we can respond to the threat, that we can control our resources, then we will be the guardian of our own destiny.
And that right there is a bottom line. I think that we have a responsibility. There are no discussions on the ground here in Jamaica about all these plans that we hear coming out of the World Economic Forum, the WHO, the CDC, and so on. For example, there's a plan for a pandemic treaty. I know Jamaica is just sitting on its heels, waiting to vote with the United States regarding the pandemic treaty. But it has to be more than that for us, because whether or not there is a virus, we experienced inequality, discrimination, serious discrimination during the COVID-19 lockdown, and almost a situation of a threat to food security is death for us. And this is what we also experience, and we're still depending to a very large extent on imported food. So the planning and the preparedness for us, I think, is pretty important. I know as a scientist, when you talk about preparing for a disease X, you're looking at a wider range of issues, right? Such as treatment mechanisms and so on, right? Vaccines.
Absolutely.
And so on.
The first step is also detection. We've been able to have a very robust surveillance system in our country, which means that we're going to have the technology in place. We need those next generation sequencing technology. And what I mean by that, these are these machines that are able to, we can isolate these samples from a patient, and we can, purify the genetic material, and we can sequence and determine what is present in there, what is, from the body, or what is, from other species, virus, bacteria, fungi, anything. And we can really use these things to really determine how we now respond based upon what it is. So we need the detection system. And then we need a healthcare system that is going to be able to treat our population. All right? So, what we see happening in Jamaica now in terms of the healthcare, that's a disaster that will never be able to meet a serious pandemic threat.
And it is a you say a disaster, but we need another word. It is tenuous at best that we have the healthcare system. You can't, as an ordinary person outside of a pandemic, you can't afford to be ill and you can't afford to die. The system is not geared at taking care of its sick, of its ill. This is just basically what it is.
And that's a problem. And then we need to start also building out our own, ability to make our own medicines in our region. Mm-hmm. All right? And we cannot do that unless we really have a national project. Mm-hmm. All right? What that national project have to do is make sure that the resources of the land, all right, and what we gain from the resources of the land is reinvested in the country. And that's not what we're seeing happening in Jamaica, because if we connect this to beach and we connect it to beach land, most of the money, of course, was 35% of the economy is tourism. But what I'm saying is only 5 cents out of every dollar staying in Jamaica. So the money is being repatriated outside the country. So that wealth is not reinvested in healthcare, it's not reinvested in education. We need, education in our country to really kind of drive the sectors and the industry that we need to deal with all that's coming. All right, if we don't control the sea is, as what Jabem is doing right now, is reimagining the coastline and the use of the sea. Is a frontier that contains a lot of material that we can use to really grow science, technology development in our own country. And by not allowing those kind of industries to drive, to develop, we are suppressing the potential of the nation. So we're not really prepared for it yet. Basically, our leaders are seeing us as just a service industry, and that really relegates us back to plantation.
It's slavery all over again.
And
I'm sorry that we're out of time, so I'm giving you the final 1 second to wrap.
Well, just know that, disease X is out there, and, we need to be prepared. And we're going to be prepared because we have to educate the nation, and we have to control the resources of our land and determine with destiny. And we have to do that by fermenting an ideology, all right, that is based in Ubuntu. We have to develop an ideology when we study Sankofa and use those concepts from our ancestors and reimagine a future that we want as Jamaicans, rooted in our own capability, and really kind of get rid of the system of oppression that is holding us down. And we need our leaders to realize that. And I'm asking Jamaicans to respond in this era right now because election is at hand, and we need to know what we're voting for because we need a future that is going to respond to the challenges of it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Devon Taylor. As always, a pleasure talking to you, my brother. Thank you so much.
Oh dear.
Midnight.
See the national anthem.
You go ahead. Give the time. It's 12 o'clock. Go right ahead, Devon. Time on IRFM. Quick before I go to 12:01, Devon. Say time on IRFM. It's midnight. Him gone? All right. Time on IRFM. It's 12 o'clock, midnight.
Brothers and sisters.
Sad are just, the old songs. We need some new chronics. Oh, we need to say new chronics, Shane. New chronics. Kheru and Shane Clark is with me. We are in for Mutabaruka. It is 3 minutes after midnight. And boy, what a conversation. I know a lot of people are talking about the UAPs or the UFO and what are those drones over New Jersey and over New York and over the RAF in England. And so there was a congressional hearing. And on Fox News, they came out, some journalist came out or commentator came out and said, listen, I got it from very, very good source that they're coming from Iran, and Iran has a mothership, and Iran sent that mothership under the water, and then the drones were let out. And then in Congress, the congressional spokesperson said, well, listen, no. This is not Iran. This is not a foreign situation. We don't know what they are, but this has nothing to do with Iran. This has nothing to do with China. The question is, if they're concerned, Shane, if they're so concerned about these drones and they're calling them drones, why don't they just shoot them down?
That's a good question.
Put them up there.
It is possible to have equipment or even, as you say, to mediate against them.
Yes.
That prevent them from flying.
Right. Or disable them. Like a sonar signal and disable them.
Yes, it is possible to do that.
Unless so it is smoke and mirrors.
Yes.
So I don't know if
you create the scenario to paint a picture, but then,
And the bottom line is that the drones are there because people are taking the pictures.
Yes.
And a lot of people are saying, I don't know why they're calling them drones because they're not really drones.
Images, yes.
So this is very interesting because January, again, at the beginning of the year, at the World Economic Forum's conference in Davos, as to what Vision 2020 would look like and going from here into 2025 and then Vision 2030. One of the things they said is that this year, 2024, people going into 2025, people would be looking up more and you'll be looking at UFOs. They said that, They said that the kind of alien conversations that we used to have, that you'll be having more of those, and you'll be seeing more UFOs or UAPs or whatever they're calling them. And so this is exactly what they planned. They told us that they would be doing this.
Yes, usually that happens, because you see a lot of these things come out in like movies and
Predictive programming.
Yes. So it's usually broadcast to you before. Yes. But then it's done in such a way that you don't actually take it real.
Exactly.
But it's real.
But it is very real. And I have always said that it might appear to you as if everything is happening coincidentally, but no. And also that things are, they didn't know, or things are secretive, or we don't know, it just come upon us. But they tell us everything. Just before COVID, they had a meeting in January at Davos that told us that there was going to be a pandemic. Bill Gates was at Davos. He said there was going to be a pandemic. They all said there was going to be a pandemic. And by the end of February, we heard there was a pandemic. There was a vicious virus. And by March, there was a pandemic, and we were all locked down for 2 years.
And all preparations were in place, and all countries had all the protocols of all the things that they had to do.
And Operation Warp Speed, yes. And mRNA vaccines. And by the way, there's a petition that a group, hundreds of scientists and medical doctors have signed and have put out there. I think it's called Hope, Addiction, Hope something. Let me get this. All right, they have put out a petition asking people to sign it, which they're saying literally to the governments and the agencies responsible, please withdraw the mRNA vaccines from the market, from the public spaces, because people are being injured by them and people are dying. So this happened just this week. So the petition is out there. I'll look for it and talk to you about it. In the meantime, should we open the phone lines, Shane?
Yes, we can. Yes.
We're going to... Muta. I'm so happy Shane is here. All right, so we're going to be opening the phone lines, taking your telephone calls. And the numbers are 974, 876 618 0352. 876 618 0352. I think if you call that will take you to all the other numbers, right? Yes. 618 0352. 8 minutes after midnight. Hello, good morning, good night.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Greetings, Kabu.
I just called your name.
Mandingo.
I just called your name, Mandingo.
And you're right when you're saying good morning, because it's morning for you.
It's morning for you.
Really?
Where are you, Mandingo?
Yes, it's 5 hours difference. I'm in London.
All right. Okay, so you're 5 o'clock, 9 after 5 in London.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah, man.
It is.
Good to hear you.
And I'm glad, yes, good to hear you too.
Yes.
A long time colleague from those days running
you remember,
Africa.
You remember, Shane? You remember? Mandingo used to co-host Running Africa with me. Yes. Yeah, man, back in the day. Yes, Mandingo.
Yeah, man.
Welcome.
Remember?
Yeah.
The IRFM, man, early days. Mr. Young Auntie.
Every time I talk about J.A.G. Rogers, I remember you, because this was something that you wanted us to pay attention to. You gave me that one of the first, I think it was a comic kind of book, right? A yellow comic book. I don't know if you remember it. By J.A.G.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. That was 1990 how? And
1990, same year that IRFM started in August.
There you go. And one of the things that you said to us is that we cannot allow J.A.G. Rogers, that his name, to die, that our young people do not recognize this great man. And every time you came into space, we were talking about J.A.G. Rogers. Great
man from Westmoreland.
So you have to take some time.
J.A.G. Rogers from Westmoreland.
So take 2 minutes and tell us, who is J.A.G. Rogers?
Well, he was from Westmoreland, Jamaica, and went to the States, and he pretty much self-educated further in the States and became the man who wrote books and made us know the most about our past history as Africans all over the world.
Mm-hmm. And this is a man.
And people like Ivan Van Sertima and others,
Yes.
they got their original information from J.A. Rogers.
There you go.
Yes,
There
the
you
man
go.
from Westmoreland. And,
Yes.
and he was a member. Marcus Garvey used to allow him to do lectures at UNIA and ACL meetings in the USA also.
Yeah. And you know, his books are very handy because I still use his books in terms of even he has Great People of Color. That's Rogers, isn't it?
Yes.
And,
yes.
I mean, it's a brilliant book. It's volume
and
1 and
100
2.
facts about and 100 facts about us,
Yes,
Africans and etc. Yes. And sex and race, several volumes of that. Yes. Great African from Westmoreland, Jamaica. And it's so sad, Sister Kabu, of 64-year-old Dawn Anderson, who was killed. She was from Westmoreland, recent that information, and people here are really upset. She used to go to Lavender.
This is our sister who came in, who disappeared from England, who came into Jamaica, disappeared. Yeah. So do you, right. I didn't get a chance to talk about her, but I know I have been following that story, and it is really a painful one because she came in. What can you tell us about this though? From where you are?
What happened is that she's from Westmoreland and came to London, England as a young girl, but her love of her island home was such that she was always returning to Jamaica as an adult, and she used to buy clothes from Ghana and carry to Jamaica and sell regularly. Yes, and she has 3 daughters, adult daughters, and so on. But she got involved.
Go ahead, because I was asking you if she was married.
She got involved with this 37-year-old guy when she was building her house at Roaring River in Westmoreland, because the contractor was his uncle. And then on her last visit here, because she's always in Jamaica every year, carrying clothes and selling, he got in touch with them and said that he dropped her, the mother, in Negril to give somebody a phone, and when he came back for her, she has just disappeared. And then they couldn't get hold of him again. So alarm bells rang,
Yes,
and people were
very concerned because she was reported missing. I remember Andrew Lumsden sending me a note to say, did you hear about this? This is when I came off air 2 Sundays ago, and then he sent me another information in short order, regarding the find of her body, and this is really alarming. Do you know?
Grave in Peter's Feet, Westmoreland, it said.
Do you have any information on how far the police investigation has gone? Do you know?
Not further, other than what I've heard so far is that her body, what is supposed to be her body, was found in a shallow grave in Petersfield in Westmoreland. But her elder sister, who lives in England, London, but has her house in England, but lives in Jamaica, returned home, says that, and she's so restless and she cannot rest until she sees the body to confirm that, yes, that is my younger sister. So that's the state.
So there's no confirmation from a sister yet as to that this is...
No. Yesterday I was getting that report, that I saw the sister saying that she just wants to see the body because she just cannot rest, and it is so painful.
It has to be my deepest condolences to the family, to her children, the sisters, to her family. This is one of
I will do, and I will keep you posted where this is concerned.
Yes,
because I first knew about this by a sister who knew her, school days. You see, when the sister said that she has gone missing, and if I can use my connections in Jamaica to make an appeal, which I did, then it blow up more. So I'll definitely keep you posted where
Please
this
do.
is
Please do.
concerned. You know,
Yeah, it's painful. It's
and,
painful.
and let me say this, my sister, that you know, we have Jamaica. We know the problems of crime and so-called gangs and lack of jobs for people and so. And yet the priority is to send soldiers and police to Haiti for gangs, you know?
Yeah, the thinking of the so-called leaders in Jamaica regarding everything, not just that, but it is totally out of whack. We're just talking to Devon Taylor about the need to be prepared for whatever it is that the World Economic Forum is about to throw at us, whether it is another pandemic because they see another one, whether it's a disease X. And then he's telling us, you know, we need to be prepared our own to make our own medicines, to manufacture our own medicines.
Precisely.
But look at what's happening has happened to our herbs and what is happening to our herbs. You know, and that's a whole other story when I talk about the Codex Alimentarius. So our situation is out of whack. I was just having a conversation with Shane because this whole idea of tourism is such a big thing in Jamaica, plantation tourism. And you were telling me, Shane, about the statement made by the governor of the Bank of Jamaica today.
Yes. So Devon mentioned it, where he was mentioning about the hotels and tourism and about the monies that came in for tourism, that most
that
of
that money don't stay in
Jamaica.
Right.
So
it's like a duck just comes in and goes out.
Right.
Yes, and he actually said that because he was speaking about the central bank's intervention in the market in the recent times and why they had to be putting in money and whatever. So he was trying to explain it. But then in saying that and mentioning, he mentioned of the hotel sector of tourism, which is our largest sector.
Right.
But he said that half that money don't stay in Jamaica. And he further stated that
in terms of our greatest foreign exchange earner.
Yes. The money that people send
the number
from
one
foreign,
industry, because tourism is the number one industry. Yeah.
You know, so he was
it's remittance. He's saying that it's remittance.
Yes, and he was looking now at the dynamics too at play of like with Trump coming into power and this whole thing of like less people sending money to Jamaica, you know, because you know,
right, because those who don't have their stay are
that will affect
are not able to send money because they will get in problems
in a serious way, because our remittance now will drop.
Yes, so there, you know, it's so much to talk about within this whole context that you raised just now in terms of what the so-called leaders are doing. They're totally, I mean, plantation tourism is the biggest thing. I saw one of the members of parliament for Portland Action and literally dancing today because a cruise ship came into Port Antonio and she was literally skipping and dancing. And I'm thinking, if displaced and misplaced celebration had a name and looked away, it would be what I saw her doing there. You know, you're
totally right, Kabu.
Yeah,
totally right. Totally right.
It's a bane. But listen, thank you so much, Mandingo. Any quick final words, because we do have to go for
Yes, quick final. Marcus Fakana, the 18-year-old, has been given a 1-year sentence in Dubai.
Yes.
For having sex with that 17-year-old Indian girl.
Yes.
But there are appeals to get him off, so he doesn't have to do that. Yeah. One year.
That's an interesting story also for those who don't know. It's a story that where this young man was, you know,
from Tottenham, North London, yes, on holiday had consensual sex with a 17-year-old Indian girl whose mother, when she found out on her daughter's phone, reported him to the Dubai police, and he was arrested, and now he has been sentenced to 1 year. But efforts are being made to free him so he doesn't have to do this 1 year. Wow. And Storm Dara last week killed about 2 people in Britain on Saturday.
Yes.
You know, and
I saw
and
that.
so
That
on. It
yeah,
was
in terms of
really,
that was quite a storm, wasn't it?
yes, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it was quite something else, and so on.
Have things quietened down a bit now after the storm?
Yes, things have quietened down a bit, even though in the rural areas, a lot of places are still without power, but gradually coming back, you know, electricity, you know.
All right.
And so on.
Thank you for the updates, Mandingo. Much appreciated. Thank you so much, my brother.
Yes, and keep in touch and leave a number with the operator so we can look up, because I have some other things to tell you.
All right. So let me just say to the operator now, when Mandingo calls, just give him my number, and there you have it, because she's got it. All right.
Yes.
Yeah,
and,
man, all right.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
So keep up the good work,
yeah, man.
Kabu,
You
and
too.
my brother,
Give
because
thanks.
we as Africans in the Marcus Garvey mold.
Give
Blessed
thanks,
love.
my brother.
Every
Give
time.
thanks. Give thanks. We take a quick break. Mutabaruka. Muta will be back next week. We'll be back tomorrow. You'll be here tomorrow, Shane?
Not in studio with you. I may not be in studio with you.
Well, we don't know about that. As long as a day in studio with me.
Yes, I'll be here. I'll be here at work. Yes.
So yes, we lock off him mic, because he's going to be here. And then he's going to be in the studio with me. All right, let's go to the phone lines as we take your telephone calls. Good morning or good night.
Good morning, Kabu.
Good morning. How you doing?
Big up Shane and big up to the General. I hope him get a safe flight back to Jamaica.
Yes, of course.
You wicked program on Sunday, Kabu. But I feel like a thing, Kabu. Because me is a man to my black people. Question, Kabu. I heard the Prime Minister on the radio talking about us motorists must be patient with them based on the road condition. But us motorists want to know what is he going to do about our cars mashing up with the GTC and the car parts.
Well, he did make a point to say that he's not asking you to be patient. He's asking you for understanding.
So the country must understand and stop them. Our traverse on the road to do our business so he can collect tax. So always see having the police them and the examiner taking out people plate because of bad tires and bad front end. You see the unbalancing of the country while the country can't better.
Right. So it means that the understanding I'm asking for, you are not in the mood for that at all. And there's no, the point you're making is that the situation is as bad as it is that they cannot understand. So let me ask you this. What then? Because the roads are as they are and you still have to move. So what is the solution?
Well, the solution is we'll stay home. There's no, if you don't provide a tool for a man working, don't work. They provide new vehicle for police to patrol and the new ILOX they mash up. And I never go to America and see a police car mash up yet. So what, people don't respect our tax-paying money?
No, it's a very serious thing because the roads are in such a bad condition. This reminds me of way back in the early 80s when we were going to school and I walked barefoot. Well, not really, but
thank you. Yeah, I used to walk my pata crepe and I walk barefoot.
Yeah, but you see, the situation is, it is really untenable. But he just launched Spark. So what do you think about Spark?
Kabu.
No, because about other people on radio.
No, man, no, because about them.
Okay.
Ask Mutabaruka. Kabu.
Okay, yeah.
All the politicians chat when they're out of power, them have the brightest idea and them in power, them on go focus on one thing. Kabu.
Yes.
Check the country, check the infrastructure of the country, the road full bush and rubbish. Go to airport where our gateway in and out. Go to airport and look at the trail, the fence, break down. You go out there and look over the streets, the amount of plastic bag, and these politicians travel to Norman, man, every time. Just go to the airport and you say, what with taxpayers? There's no level of maintenance in this country.
They're hardly using the roads, because they are multimillionaires. Remember, you had private jets and so on, and if they don't have a private jet, them get it for borrow. And remember, they just got 200% salary increase. So them not the wish part we did.
But I just said that, so him say we see improvement, but obviously them get the money and them should that means them I get paid a long time and now them should have work better. I mean, not see nothing, but there's nothing. This thing just silent.
It is
wickedness.
Thing just silent.
It is wickedness. I'm
and
telling you. And the churches are silent. The private sectors are silenced. The other day, Mr. Siaga defend him when them say him with man and I defend him. And now when the foolishness start, these private sector people most quiet because of millions of dollars. Yeah, make the poor black people them go and suffer because we're all right. Wickedness, Kabu, is the worst. Or worse spell WRC and WRC and Muta say we have water. And Mr. Kabu, the Kheru and Jerry and Miguel and Muta educate the people. I don't know, want to black people. We just all we want to just shoot on one another. We don't stand for nothing. Kabu, when the car them drop in at the patrol, I feel that my driver a F-150, and when me hear the car them, a matter of fact, you don't even have the breakaway. The patrol them is not patrol, they are pits.
Because if you
employ the boy them on the road to pack stone on the road, employ them when have the money to do it. And we can't wait for whatever. You go up stone if we say, Kabu, I feel it. Nothing in Jamaica for you say yes. Yeah. And when people are running away, you will attack this and that. No, it's unfair.
It is some it is some 5 business. It is scamming at a very high level. The $3 trillion cannot be accounted for.
I was getting at that, Kabu. You spoke about something Sunday. I mean, the news 3, not million, not billion, $1 trillion from what Ministry of Health and most of the other. And the Ministry of no woman where control finance silent.
The Minister of Finance, she made a statement today. She's saying that the money is not missing, but nobody never said missing. We say it cannot be accounted for.
It cannot be accounted
for. So it's smoke and mirrors and 3-card game and what they call the other one. It's they're taking us for idiots and take us for fools.
Idiot.
And at some point we're going to have to get angry enough to put the collective foot down and say no more. But until we get to that point, they are going to continue to take us an idiot because they know they can't give us 2 tin of bully beef and a pack of rice.
$5,000.
All right.
Look for my Ken, boy, I'm not living in a squalor. And look around.
You know, because Devon mentioned also about the health issue, the hospitals and whatever. We have the education sector, you know, and it's like all of these sectors, we see them going down.
Do you know, Shane, the point you're making? The point you're making is so critical and to pick up on Devon's point. The hospitals pray say uno no sick and pray say uno no have nobody sick. Pray say and I just want to send my deepest sympathies to those who are currently using the public hospitals in Jamaica, because may I tell you, it is wickedness.
Shame.
All right.
I feel terrible. I'm shame. Billions of dollars missing. The Prime Minister's son left on her body. Always the Prime Minister's son with them pass some with them.
We're going to talk about that tomorrow.
Where I'm getting the money from for business.
Look here, we're going to talk about that tomorrow inside of the program. So make we load that little because that is a question that must be asked and answered. Right?
Look, me know some make we load that. Yeah. Say them, say all them do. Kabu go and spot, bring them friends and mash up Jamaica, have them money and ship out the whole of them. PMP come in and find anything and defend them, protect GLP come in find anything where PMP them protect them on them just argue like yo and the people them just sit down there and talk about we go to KC, we go to Ulma, we go to Georgia and just sit down, dumb, can't do nothing, business as usual, and the people them take us for a ride and we have behaved like I said that guns and those can't stand up for nothing in the church. So silence now preach. The private sector not saying nothing. The police are lack of poor people, Moko, and it's all known about no go to Jamaica also say, what is that mean? $3 trillion and would have better hospital. People there hospital for 2 weeks. Really no Andrew Wallet, really no Mark Wallet, really no Colonel Charles Jr., really no black people.
And Christopher Tufton. Look here, my brother, make we leave it there for now. We have to take a break.
But long life and big up your shame, but I tell you, man,
but listen, we cannot let us keep the fire blazing and burning, you know, because
big up man, yeah, man.
Yeah, give thanks. We take a quick break. Until 10 until 2 o'clock. We started at 10, we go through until 2 o'clock. Do we go back to the phone lines? All right, let me go to the phone lines. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, greetings. We're well, if you two are well.
Yes, sir. I'd like to say greetings with the name of the King, Emperor Haile Selassie.
Greetings to you too, my
Big
brother.
up the doctorate, Muta, anyway he is.
Yes.
Always wishing the best.
Mm-hmm.
Shane Clark, don't know, you were on the program. And for you, the Queen of Jamaica's voice for such a strong effort Sunday, I want to tell you that the program was on point.
Greetings, my brother. Thank you so much.
I want about we as a people. I have some, things I have to say. I want to big up all of my African brothers, the Seychelles,
Yes.
Ibrahim Traore from Burkina Faso. Most importantly, I love the work them are doing. Mm-hmm. Niger, and all of the crew them, all of the proper leaders. I mentioned before a few weeks ago, I've been talking with Mota on the subject matter of we have 4 major stumbling blocks in the progress of Jamaica's ability to function as a proper country. The PSOJ number 1, the politician number 2, the police them 3rd, and the church 4. Mm-hmm. Well, we see what it has done for us. Jamaica healthcare is in tatters. Yeah. Yet still, the government has not seen the reconciliation effort they should be making with the Cubans. I mean, in the Western, not in the Caribbean, in the Western Hemisphere, Cuba have the best doctors, par none. And
all right,
Jamaica
so there's some kind of an agreement, obviously, between Jamaica and Cuba. Read that.
Yes.
So you're speaking. Yeah. So you're speaking of something broadening that. To what extent? Tell me what that would look like. That agreement between Jamaica.
Well, we need to bring in more. We need to bring in more of the Cuban doctors, them, and we need to send more of the Jamaican students and things to Cuba. Mm-hmm. Because since the Labour Party came in the 1980, they have moved away from that perspective.
Right, but I do know that they're still sending students to Cuba. I know a lot myself.
Oh, yeah, not on the scale. You see what it was.
Or the brigadists days.
Yeah, they moved away from that for the simple fact that they claim Cuba was a communist country.
Yes.
Now, most of the transactions they are dealing with China, which is a communist country. So the biggest heights of hypocrisy.
Yes, and
China, we don't see the benefit.
And China have that exchange that you're speaking about with Cuba. When you go in Cuba, right. You see that the extent to which that is.
Because they're communists. Yeah. They're communists is one tree, so they're gonna have different branches.
I don't think China is communist, but if you say so.
Yeah, China is a communist country.
I don't think so. It's capitalist.
No. What it is? Listen to me. You see, what you have to look for is the administrational effort. If China is embarking on a world domination,
yes,
the people in the Caribbean and rather third world countries, as them say, don't see China program for the entity of it. China wants to become the next slave master. That's what China's goal is.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, they're already there because they've moved out into settler colonialism. So they're winning as far as that is concerned. They're a little bit different from how the Europeans do it, but
they're in Africa.
Yeah, of course they're in Africa. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. That's the next slave master mission they on to control.
Yes.
Now, the BRICS argument where them come up with both them and move away from the US dollar, that's not going to benefit the African nations, and it's not going to benefit the third world Caribbean people.
Why do you say so?
Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to use the goal that the African nations them have and take it like how Eddie Siaga and friend them Rob Boy when them change over from pounds, shillings and pence to dollars and cents.
Yeah.
Because most people don't know say we did lose 2 cents after every shilling. And it went up along the line as you go along. If you add it up, numerous dollars will lose. Jamaica lose their ability to function after having one of the strongest currencies.
But is there some positivity to Jamaica's looking at Jamaica looking at BRICS. I think there should be something there in terms of alternatives. Even though we have this threat on BRICS now, coming through the president-elect, and even though BRICS, I think is still, floundering and wavering, but there's something to be said about standing up and standing against the level of imperialism that we see coming from the European Union and the United States and the UK and so on, and looking to another body.
Yeah, but as them say, well, you swap thing there for black dog. So it's not like you're getting something. You're not getting anything for the simple fact that one coming with a different agenda.
Yeah.
No, my thing is work with the enemy where you have, or work with the one where you have already, because you know basically most about them.
And which enemy would that be? Would that be China or would that be the United States?
The European colonialists, them from the beginning, work with them because we and them been together.
Really?
Black people don't have what I would call entities of warfare for fight the Chinese. The Chinese is going on a program of split. I don't know if you didn't know about Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong, they have a book with them sent to the Caribbean in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get one to read as a youth.
Mm-hmm.
But it's called the Red Book.
Mm-hmm.
It's a program. It go in 10-year increments, and it have a goal of achieving world domination.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what they want to do is split all the stuff we see going on in America with the civil disturbances and the color agenda thing is all part of the Chinese manufactured program. If they can get the white people and the black people to be separated from themselves, they can win because they will fight the white people.
So you're saying China? You're saying that is China? I mean, but that's not China. I mean, I see where you're going with it, but this is outside of China, isn't it? Colorism and racism and classism and so on. It's not a Chinese construct by.
No, the thing is the split is when you're going on a mission, you need support. The black people them don't have no support because the white people them say, listen, you are the slave and me are the master and we ever want to run it that way there. The Chinese man say, I will help you to overcome that hurdle. But in accepting his help, the payback where you're going to get is not what you desire. You're not going to be able to function on your own. So,
but I would think that imperialism is imperialism. Oppression is oppression. It don't matter what I dress up in a yellow. I don't know.
It's two different forms of
system. It's the same form of slavery. It doesn't
matter who.
Way.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I hear you saying that. So you're making a comparison between China and the Europeans and the Americans and so on, and to say the devil that who are the Europeans, that is a better option for a country like Jamaica. But this is
for the whole of the black race. The whole of the black race is a better option.
How so? But it's 2024 and look where we are. How so?
Yeah, I mean, listen to me. This thing is a time frame. Me and you can't change it. It's a time frame. But we have to see the goals that we're going to achieve. Number one is the Chinese is not beneficial to us, period.
None of them are beneficial. That's the point I'm making, and I'm agreeing with you. But as they are not beneficial to us, so too the Americans are not beneficial to us. And so too,
I agree with that.
Right. So at some point...
But what I'm saying to you...
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Yeah. What I'm saying to you is this. We already know them for who they are and what they are about.
We do not know them.
So
these devils we do not know.
Yeah, we know them. We know them because they reveal themselves to us. Them tell us who them is.
Well, if we know them, how come we want to
get rid of them?
With them fingers crossed and shake yours and say, yeah man, I come to help you. But it is not within the best interest of us. This is where Marcus Garvey prophetic words going to come in now. Marcus Garvey said black people not going to know themselves till them back against the wall. The Chinese going to come put you back on the wall. We're back not against the wall yet. They're close.
In that case, you're all working. In that case, you're all working together on that.
But yeah, I mean, in the system
it's a parallel. With a parallel discussion we're going on the road on two different lines. So it's not going to go much further. We're not going to agree on this. But I take the point you're making, and I appreciate I appreciate your point.
So look at it from that perspective and see, because here it will have in a Jamaica a problem internally with the $3 trillion we're missing.
Missing. It cannot be accounted for. Here the Minister of Finance said not missing.
It's not accounted for because, listen, look at it again.
Yes.
From the microscopic viewpoint, it has been over the past 11 years that the $3 trillion is that. Okay? Now, the Jamaica Labour Party government account for, I think, 10 out of the 11 years of the missing money. There is 19 different departments, them say, in the Prime Minister's office. Okay? Mm-hmm. Most of the money is from the Education Department. At one point in time, the Prime Minister was in charge of the Department of Education.
So the point
what we're looking at here is, in law, them say inference. When you use inference to connect the dots, you will see, say, the Prime Minister is one of the part of the major problem in the whole situation right now. That's why
902 billion cannot be accounted for from the Ministry of Education. Right. 695 billion from the Ministry of Health. 53.4 billion from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. 111.3 billion from the Ministry of Finance. 12.2 billion from the Office of the Prime Minister. 6 billion from the Parliament, 8.6 billion from the Forestry Department, 152 billion from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, 36.9 billion from the Department of Correctional Services, and the municipal corporations, 10 billion. And this amount to $3 trillion that cannot be accounted for. And the Minister of Finance would want to treat us like babies and children with smoke and mirrors, like she's a magician, telling us that it is not missing, like nobody did say it missing. Jam say it is unaccounted for. That is different from missing. Unaccounted for. Until you account for it, if you can account for it, then all well and good, go ahead and account. But if you can't, then that is when we'll make a decision as to whether or not it is missing or thieving or corrupting or take $1 billion on housing. These are the questions that we have to answer. At the minute, it is unaccounted for and it is $3 trillion. And dog damn your supper if you're sick and have to go to any one of them hospitals in Jamaica, because there is no such thing as health care in the public hospitals. You go there from 6 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock the next day, you don't see a doctor yet, you don't register yet, and you're lucky if you get a chair for sit down, the benches are tough like rock stone, and it don't matter how ill you are. You understand the point I'm making?
Yes, I understand your point.
That's the system. That's the system where we're living under. And what Nigel Clark, who knew, I'm putting it to the nation and to Nigel Clark and to the Prime Minister. He must, at some point, he became aware that he was not going to be staying in Jamaica for too long. And so they made a decision to give themselves 200% salary increases. And no matter how the people of Jamaica demonstrated outside of the Minister of Finance, Nigel Clark, knowing that he was not going to be in Jamaica for much longer, didn't even look through one of the windows on the people. But he left them with a golden nest egg. The Minister of the Opposition leader said he was going to give his money to who? Where am the same one do it for money?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I think him to say him not.
Yeah, he wasn't going to take that money.
If him take it, he won't get it. It is the whole thing is a joke. It's the most corrupt. It's the wickedest act. Today, just yesterday, because this is another day, we saw the people from the Gleaner RJR Gleaner Group, supervisors and whatever, UTOPs representing them, outside demonstrating for salary increases. This is not a government company now, but I'm throwing this in to say they had a placard saying slavery done from 1834. Now the Gleaner is going to have to pick up on that and run with it like they're dying, because all of us in the media have to come to that realization that slavery done from 1834 and what you're trying to put us back into, whether you're private or you're public, is enslavement. So the point that I am making this today is to say to the Prime Minister of Jamaica, that ministry that you have, where you alone have 19 different ministries in the or agencies or whatever you have in the office of the Prime Minister, it is narcissistic. That's the first thing. Only narcissists think that they can do everything. The second thing is that it reeks of corruption, conflict of interest, and it needs to be audited. It needs a financial audit and it needs a moral audit. And the Prime Minister has to see himself. If he's not able to see himself, then nothing will change.
Well, it's not going to change, within a short period of time, because the tentacles that stretch out from the office of the Prime Minister is far and great. So if you look at the Parliament on a whole, the Speaker of the House should not have been the Prime Minister's wife. That's a no-no.
I agree.
Because when it comes time for trial and stuff for things that have been done, she can't give a testimony against the Prime Minister because wife can't testify against husband by law.
And listen,
so it's a conflict of interest.
And forget the law. It don't look good either. And this is why we said this thing need a moral audit. Tan good, it don't look good. So where's your conscience? Where's the conscience? And the second thing is we have everybody a family. In Portland we have husband and wife. You have all of the Charles them. And you have it happening on both sides, and we are okay with that. This is what the Qin dynasty, or the Zhou dynasty, or the Zhang dynasty?
The Philips, the Azans, the Samuda.
Yes. What is this? This is reeking like ancient China, out of the Forbidden Palace. This is crazy.
Well, the thing is, what they have found out is the Jamaican people has become dormant in their struggle for upliftment, which means to say them throw them a little bone and the people them take the bone and say, yes, man, them might do something for me. And as long as me get what me want, me don't worry about the next man. So this is the idea that we have become to this the divisive way of thought. Now, what I see from your perspective of you doing Mutabaruka and the rest of the crew is Rastafari is the only element that can require Jamaica to a state of honor within the nations of the Caribbean and the world.
We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much, my brother. We have to take a quick break, but thank you so much. All right.
Yeah.
We take a quick break. We'll be right back. Brings me back to that thinking that we, so many of us had in the early, what was that now? When we just came into this space in the 90s and we recognized that we had a purpose, Shane. You were young, 19-year-old youth. I was young. We were coming into a space where we recognized that we had a purpose. We recognized that purpose, using the vehicle of IRFM because of what it represented, was built upon liberation and freedom. And we knew what we were for more than we knew what we were against. And because we were for freedom and liberation, we knew that we were against imperialism and oppression in any form. And here we are in 2024. And I just asked Shane a question, and he's been saying it too. Can you recall in your time, because remember, we are the Generation X's, right? Can you recall a time when it was worse than now? And my answer is no. I don't know about you, Shane.
I can't recall either. No.
That is the thing.
Yeah. As I was saying earlier, it was like at that time, for me personally, even if like you had children who would get trouble, but that was like when them parents not seeing them And so, so when you see adults, you have that certain level of respect.
Yes.
There was that respect for the policeman, that respect for the nurse, that respect for the postmistress,
teacher.
the teachers, those offices were offices that you respected, Now we see teachers hardly able to survive, nurses, doctors hardly able to survive,
Well, the junior doctors are arrested if they were on strike for 2
Yeah, that whole indiscipline and everything what we see nowadays,
And part of that too, Shane, has to do with the fact that we're looking on the injustice is so much, the injustice against the people, the masses of the people.
Yes. I was saying to somebody recently, I was explaining to my son just how we got to where we are now in terms of our economy. And I was letting him know that when I was a kid, like about a 10, 11-year-old kid, I remember traveling with one of my friends, my classmates, and we went to a bank on Red Hills Road. He had got a $1, a US $1 from a relative. And we said, okay, we'll go into the bank to go change the money, get some Jamaican money, and him go buy 2 patty, whatever, what. And he got $1.17.
Wow.
For that $1 US.
Wow.
And I'm saying to my son now that a US dollar is now $159 and change.
Wow. This is what we have become. And, we used to talk about what are we becoming?
The devaluing of our economy.
The devaluing of our economy, devaluing of ourselves, devaluing. And here we are. Here we are. And the Prime Minister says he's been targeted. And the optics, he doesn't even realize that it's just the optics of things. I forget the IC report for now. When the first IC report came out, 2 things I said, because I rubbished that because I recognized what it was and I didn't see anything in that the Integrity Commission came down on to say, okay, let us hold the Prime Minister responsible here. There's just too many loose ends. But I did make 2 points out of it because I read it back and front many times. One was the Prime Minister's relationship with Mr. Brown, his partner, his business partner, presented a conflict of interest, and he should let that go. Apparently, it looked like he was letting it go, or he tried to let it go. But how do you let it go? You let it go. I mean, the gentleman just mentioned that if you look at the board of directors, there's another Holness there.
Is included.
Right.
Yes.
So what do we do with that information? And the second thing I said is the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is a Trojan horse, and that has to be audited and fixed if the Prime Minister wanted to regain any semblance of credibility.
And as you said a while ago, the word you used was optics.
Yes.
It's all about the optics.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to show that transparency.
Yes.
Because you're in that seat.
Yes, you are.
So heavy is the head that wears a crown.
Exactly.
So setting that example from the top then allows everything to go seamlessly.
It is your duty.
Yes.
And so stop talk about people targeting you, number one. And number two, stop talking about people bad mind. Let me just play about that song here, so, and we continue to take your telephone calls. It's 11 minutes after 1 o'clock. 876-681-0352. In for Muta, working out with Shane. Muta will be back with you next week, and we're inside of the final, just about a half an hour. We're still taking your telephone calls until just about 2 o'clock. Interestingly, I wonder if Matrix is here, because I heard, let's take the call. I heard Matrix, but there you go again, on social media, making a commentary on social media that I thought was really, really poignant, and I want to talk to him a little bit about that, sound systems and so on. But let's go to the phone lines. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, greetings. Sorry for the long hold, but welcome.
So me was a long hold.
All right, then.
Jamaica road full of long hole and deep hole.
Yes, they are. What a country.
I just sit down and I listen to the idea, man. I say everybody does sound stressed, and maybe I feel problem
me not have no problem. But everybody just seem like on full of problem. Why full of so much problem?
All right, so you don't have no problem. So thank you so much for calling. So
no, me not done talk. You talk about phone problem now.
Yeah, what kind of problem we have?
Phone problem is that when you keep talking, it's like when not come to what you need to do yet.
Uno.
No, everybody with me about teachers, nurse, doctors, motor, Kabu, the callers, them.
All right, so we don't come to what we need to do yet. So
no.
In other words, you're saying that we do not understand what our purpose is.
I'm wondering if that is on the problem, and the biggest problem.
It seems to me that's what you're saying.
Yeah, because...
All right, so what do you think it is that we should be doing?
I think we are not organized and centralized. I hear a lot of people talking about the problem of the country.
Tell me what that will look like, organized and centralized. What will that look like?
That will look like is that we ask what is happening, right? We're not talking about it, right? So, at time now, phone start linking one another, try finding one another.
So why do you assume that we haven't found each other, that we're not link each other, and that we're not doing what our purpose is?
Because if that was happening, we'll be hearing about it.
No, not necessarily.
For years now we are talking.
No, not necessarily. As one of the things that I've always said, and if you listen to me, you know that, we have to first of all face ourselves. And then face ourselves, come to terms with ourselves, understand what our purpose is. And then to move from there to family, make sure, say, whatever it is that our principles are, we inculcate that in family. From family to community. And from community to parish to nation. So you're looking for a big result, but we are not in control of the budget. We're not in control of the government, and neither do we. I can't speak for myself. I don't want to be. But we are as and I speak also for myself. We are in control of what it is that our purpose leads us to be in control of. So I think what the outcome that you're looking for, it don't line up with what my purpose is. You understand? That's the point.
All right. You see, me name myself Ida, so I might be thinking wrong because you know my name myself. All right, but
are you right, Miss Sunday? So nobody not answer because you're an idiot.
Yeah. Come again, you just say.
I saw a text on Sunday when I came in on WhatsApp.
Oh, yeah.
To say, Kabu, nobody now answer me coming here, idiot. That was you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right then. All right then, me hear you.
No, man, we're not leaving it there. Good argument give way to better argument. What is it that you're expecting from us? What is it that you expect to see us doing?
How much years are you on your program?
Me not depend on a program. I have a purpose. I'm a purpose lead. I'm a purpose lead.
How much years now you're on your purpose?
From before my born.
All right.
From before time.
So basically then what you're saying, in due time what will happen?
No, I'm not saying nothing like that. What is about to happen has already happened. When I just came in this space, you couldn't say ancestors in Jamaica. If you say ancestors in Jamaica, people run and say it's Duppy. Chris Supreme used to work before me, and Chris Supreme. I know Chris Supreme. I'm living in a time when our ancestors are revered.
Yes, change is coming.
Not only that, when I started working here, we had no connection with the continent of Africa to speak about.
So yes, a change is coming then.
No, we are part of a change. We are in the change. We're part of that change. So I cannot allow you to belittle any of the work that has been done, whether it is through this vehicle, which is IRFM, or any other vehicle that we have used over time. I wouldn't need to defend with but what is it that you are looking for? That's the point. I want you to answer the question. What is it that you're looking for?
What is it that I'm looking for?
Yeah, what is it you want to see us do?
I want to see us coming together. All right, let me see if me can explain this coming together. Because as them say, unity is strength.
Yeah.
Right? And these people may have the money, but the greatest resource is the human being. Right? So if we can come together, gather the human being them, we can bring forth the change better and quicker.
And what would come together look like? Are you saying come together as a political group, as a political party, as a youth club, or as a wider club, Mwalimu Marcus Mosiah Garvey club? I mean, what does coming together mean?
Coming together mean we come in as a human being for the benefit of the human being.
Right. So do we need someone to call us together?
I guess so, because
that is your purpose. That is because that has been laid on your heart, as my father would say. So it becomes your purpose. So
that is why.
So mind you putting off your purpose onto others, you know.
I understand, and that is why when I call program, I keep saying we need to come together.
But you're the one. But you're only talking. You just accuse us of talking. But what have you done? What have you done to facilitate the coming together?
Perfectly. I've got to get to the number now and probably start.
No, but why it have to be we? I mean, why you not starting?
We have to come together, not me alone.
No, but remember, you know, you start with yourself, with your family, with community, and then broaden it. But you look like you want to skip your home and your community and your parish and then just jump to
where you live on the radio. Kabu. Suppose me say that, right? Me I try that with my community. My community get hooked on the system and I follow them instead of listening to me.
Well, that is
others might do the same thing. Look here now, others do the same mentality where me have. I try to them community, but them still the community come like them not hear it. Them still hook on these people who are rob and not cheat them and not really do not help them. So guess what now? Me, you know, I've got to link those with the same mind with myself.
Yes.
And see if we can pull ourselves together and see if we can make them see.
Yes.
Make them see a different group now, a different organization, a different come together people with a different mindset.
And maybe another
best we can draw them more to us.
Exactly. And then there's also another point. And there's also another point is that there are many people who have already come together who are doing what they're doing quietly, but they're making strides and they're doing very great work, and they probably meet 2 or 3 or 4 times per year. I belong myself to many of those groups. So if it is that there's another group that you're starting and you want to invite us, go right ahead and invite us, and we'll try and make it there.
All right. With these groups that you're talking about, right? With these groups that are do them little things.
No,
right?
big things.
All right. Then
sending children to school, ensuring that people have uniform, you know, conducting Saturday classes, making connection between Africa and Jamaica. Right. So there's it's just that
But these groups
no, but you're not listening. You only want to hear, but you're not listening.
All right.
Because you came in a paradigm, which is to say that them people are only talking on the radio. That's a paradigm that you come in. So no matter how much me try to tell you, say you are in the wrong paradigm, it don't matter to you.
It matter to me. I'm glad they tell me straightforward to say I'm in the wrong paradigm.
That's all you hear me say. Anyway.
No, everything is anyway. I listen very carefully, you know, Kabu, and the very words they use to me, never bring it back to you one day where we can talk again. So I listen very carefully.
Yeah, it's not like a threat. But
all right. No, it's not a threat. We are reason, Kabu. I don't threat. I'm not a dictator. I reason.
Yes.
I have respect for reasoning, man.
Right. So the paradigm that you're in, that you came with is to say that you people, because you said that, you only talk. A lot of people think like you know. And we get these calls all the time. A lot of people think like you. And those who don't call, we say it on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. But what I'm saying, the people that will do some big things, right? Yes. Which is good and excellent.
Yes.
Great. And I'm saying, if these people, you just do your thing, and next one they start do them thing, same purpose, right? If we can build that web now, try to create a web between us now, we'll do even greater things.
You know, at the point and what I am trying to say to you is that once you start doing what your purpose is to do, you don't have to try to find the web. The web will find you. You're automatically in the web because you end up in the same spaces and the same places, looking at the same things and trying to fix the same things. That's basically how it works. If you find yourself outside of these webs, it means that maybe you are. If you find yourself outside of this web, it probably means that you are not doing anything.
All right, perfectly. I hear what you say. Then Jamaican people, don't worry. We should be rescued from these criminals and thieves because there are some great people out there doing some great things.
So that is sarcasm. Because I asked you. Yeah, I asked you, what is it?
What do you mean by sarcasm?
I asked you. Hang on a sec there. Hang on a sec. I asked you, what is it that you want us to do? I didn't recognize that what you were talking about is that you want us to rid Jamaica of criminal and thieves. I had no idea that's what you were thinking. I cannot do that. And there's no group that I can join that can do that.
That can rid Jamaica of these thieves and criminals?
Yeah.
Then why talking then if we can't do it? Because them never change.
So why is it for? Which thieves and criminals are talking?
So if them not
no, same political leaders. Them
you're talking about the politicians? Sorry, Shane.
No, may I ask the virgin say, if them now go change, then why is it you have an issue talking about it?
With those who are talking about it.
If the people them now got change.
Yeah.
Why me have an issue talking about?
Because you are recognized that the talk now go make no change with the people. So why expect we to make change with the people?
No, I say the talk is good, but when we can more organize ourselves and do more, it will bring a better result from the people.
Right. So you're assuming that people are not organized. And the point I'm making to you is that one of the reasons why you think people are not organized is that you yourself are doing nothing. Because if you were doing something, you would have already you'd have already buck up in the people who doing something.
Doing something. Something I done.
Yeah.
All right. So to me, it's up in my own.
No. So, I don't know where you itch. I don't know if you itch up, and I don't know if you're in your house. The point we are making. So it's you have to be careful with your attitude. You know. Listen to me now.
So the point is.
I am not sure why you called.
I am sure Jamaica will be rescued very soon because Jamaican people.
Who is here to rescue?
Terrible, but some very nice people out there. Who is here to rescue? Some really good things.
Who is here to rescue? Who is here to rescue Jamaica?
Who is here to rescue Jamaica?
Mm-hmm.
Who is here to? I don't really think.
Why you're insisting on Jamaica? A big part of our platform, both Shema and myself, is wider than rescuing Jamaica. It is also it is also about how it is about how we can rebuild communities. So we don't. So the idea of rescuing Jamaica is a bigger. It's a vision, and it sounds good. It sounds good, but no one person can do that, and no one group can do that. But if you, in your small corner, do what you can do, and stop projecting the fact that you're not doing anything onto people who are doing something, you will begin to see the small changes making big changes. All right? Yes.
All right.
So thank you so much for the call.
So my apology for.
Why are you apologizing? I am not offended, and you have done nothing to offend any of us. So why are you apologizing?
All right then. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Miss.
We take a quick break. Thank you so much, my brother.
All right.
We are going to be wrapping up now. If there's a call, we'll take it. Is there one, Shane? No, we'll take a call if there's there. 974 876 618 0352. I was saying earlier to Shane that I heard conversation. Well, it's on TikTok and it's a social media post by DJ Matrix, who's going to be relieving me in a minute. And he was talking about the sound system and sound systems in Jamaica, and quite an interesting conversation there. So check out DJ Matrix social media page, TikTok, to get that information. Let's go to the phone lines. Sound like we're a country now because we hear the cricket and so on. Good morning.
Morning, Kabu.
Yeah, which part you call from?
First time calling the program. Green Island.
Green Island, may I tell you, man.
About 20 years still,
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, man. Did up by Marcus Garb in August every year. So
yes, give thanks.
Just a little concern because I'm also in a situation without the country around it. Now I run good. I think the politicians and the people who have to really understand the dynamics. I mean, he's a working person for over 30 years as well.
Yes.
And my son right now in the hospital for almost 2 months from October. And he with a broken leg and no surgery. We can't get no transfer here on the phone around. So I'll leave the number with you and maybe you can assist me after, even any time, another day with some, so we can go about to get him.
You know, my brother, I'm going to be very frank with you. I have a relative in a very similar position, and I find that I cannot help myself or help my relative. And this is how serious the situation is.
And the country also, I mean, the politicians them can do a lot more, I think, than the ministers, but
they don't care.
They need to more, maybe go back to a drawing board and get involved in a certain space where them have control, not just the churches and the schools, but like public parks, like where the bus them there, and market here where people gather them public spaces. This kind of mentality with people, we have less government control of those area. The government can incorporate themselves more in those areas than more the more the areas where them have where we make payments and all of that. Yeah, but they can help influence.
Yeah. But if you listen to them though, if you listen to them, every single one without fail, their ego bigger than a California lumberjack,
Yeah, I understand that. But they're not really the grassroots like we, the working class, would have paid the taxes.
They're coming from the grassroots, but somehow they have
criminal activity and all of them stuff. Them push with but the country need more help. The country really need more help.
It's a lack of care. Well, I'm really sorry to hear about. Is it your son?
Yes, but it's like they don't have the equipment to do the surgery, and I can't get to transfer him. You can pay run around. I know the system now with the doctors.
Where's the equipment at KPH?
Not necessarily, because I tried months ago and I didn't get to transfer him, but I know that they're doing some renovation there, so we couldn't even put pressure on the doctors them more but it really is a way, We were thinking about Ministry of Health and Wellness office trying to get to Mr. Substance office. I don't know how to get to, but even information like how we can take even from bus from here over there just to get him out of that place somewhere where they have the equipment, because it's stressing and what else to do.
I totally empathize with you, and even more so because I am now facing a very similar situation where the transfer is not happening. And it is one of the wickedest acts that I've ever witnessed.
Yeah.
And you feel impotent. You feel impotent. You feel as if there's nothing you can do. But what about? I am just saying, what about now? But I've tried all these things. But I'm still going to say to you, you talk about the office, but what about the member of parliament?
Well, I've tried to reach out, but I didn't get through much. I can try that again because that's exhausted.
Yeah. Who is a member of parliament?
I don't remember the name. You cannot say the name.
Which parish are you in?
In Hanover.
Hanover. Okay, we know the MP.
Western Hanover.
Western Hanover. Boy, I couldn't even tell it. So, but member of parliament, Western Hanover.
I'm going that tomorrow. Definitely. Get to that.
The thing is that we're not giving up. And I know you're not going to give up. I'm not giving up.
It's really, I refer that help me kind of with a certain amount of motivation as well and the inspiration I have. So, I mean, I know the awareness is nice. So
let's keep the fight going.
Yeah, man.
And let us know how you do.
Yeah, I will. I'll keep
All
in
right.
touch.
All the best. More power to you and more love to your son.
Man. I'm East Far Right anyway, so first time silent.
Welcome, my brother, and thank you so much.
Yes, man. Thank you.
Shane, you see what I'm talking about, though? I mean, this is a norm, you know. This is not like just a fluke. This is happening to all of Jamaica.
Right across.
Right across Jamaica. This is a situation. Mm-hmm. This is a situation. You know, we're not talking just for talk's sake. We're talking about what we're experiencing. And, you know, society is set up in a way that you work, you pay your taxes, you know, you live a clean and decent life. You know, you give back to your community and you expect.
And you expect that your taxes should be governed in a manner that will work adequately for you.
Yes.
And your other fellow compatriots in your country.
Exactly. But yet, here we are. Where there's hardly any. Thing in place for healthcare. This is the man I'm talking about. Here I'm coming. Man. Yes, so we check out him. We're talking about Matrix.
Matrix.
The post you made on TikTok about the sound system. I was just talking to Shane about all the way back to Louis Fraser.
Louis Fraser.
It was Louis Fraser Bennett? Is it? No.
Louis Fraser.
Louis Fraser.
Yes.
Louis Fraser. Right. And you remember Louis Fraser? Sound system. She was the Sound System Association of Jamaica.
Yes.
Right. So she was the president. Mm-hmm. And I listened to you and I said, but this is the same fight that we've been having from damn time till this time.
It gets worse from that shutdown.
Muta has also always been calling, not necessarily for like a venue for dance halls or sound systems, but just a venue for music, for entertainment. And we don't have a venue like that here in Jamaica. You know? Nothing adequate.
I know, and I've heard many times. I've been with Muta where asked the question directly to the Minister of Culture, and where she said, "We're thinking about it. We have it on board." And I think they're actively trying to do it. You know, it's just that it don't happen yet. But the sound, the problem that you identify, Matrix, is interesting, because you talk about the permits, right? It's complex. It's not just a one thing. Because I was there taking notes. I'm saying, no, it's everything connected in terms of whether sound systems in Jamaica and whether or not we're gonna save it.
Yes,
that's basically what it boils down to. Tell us what are the issues? Because there are a few issues that you raise. Me tell people to go check out your page already, but you're there right just in front of the microphone, so we could go and talk for the next 5 minutes.
Well, the problem I have with this thing now, I don't have a problem with permits, no problem with that. But when you issue the permit and then you cannot get to exercise the event to make back your money, there is where the problem comes.
Right, because you pointed about, and why you can't get to see the event to the end is because of how authorities, whether it's police or whoever, and usually it's the police, you're saying who would come before
checking few times, light up the place, whatever, park up, you turn down the music, you turn it up, but all kind of activities happen.
See, wow, this I think this is something to be looked at seriously, you know.
But if you're going to put pressure on something and not find a solution, that is fighting the thing to see.
Right.
So if we can get some places to do these events, well, issue the permits and we go to these places, whatever time we must lock off, we lock off.
But the point that you also raise is that the permit might say you lock off at a certain time. Let us say the permit say you lock off at
2 o'clock.
At 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
You're saying that the police will come before 2?
Sometime 9, 10 o'clock.
For what is to provide security?
Sometimes people call about it, but if you know that the area is not fit for the event, why issue the permit then?
So who issued the permit? Is it the police or the parish council?
Yeah.
Both.
Well, yeah, both come together and deal with that.
Usually in a case like that, you have a multiplicity of departments that you have to deal with.
Yep.
Because you have to deal with like the police department, you have to deal with the fire department, you have to deal with the parish council, you have to deal with JAMS and JCAP.
Right,
so
I remember. So all these agencies would have signed off on this one permit for this one promoter to keep the event using the sound system.
Yes.
You know, it says a sound system event.
Yes.
In a prescribed space.
In a prescribed space. So you know, say this out case.
Yeah.
And the police would have also signed off on the permit.
Yes, they're supposed to check out the place, know, say it all right, and say, all right, go ahead then.
How pervasive is this? I mean, is it, like a one-off, or is this something that is happening with sound system operators?
Well, it's right across the island.
Wow.
Event promoters complain regularly about it. About, them dances or them parties being shut off before
the permit expires.
Yes.
Yep.
And from what Matrix is saying is sometimes a few hours before that you begin to see what you can only call, in terms of the police turning up, or you'd probably call the threat then.
Yes.
That you have to turn off.
Turn down, them getting phone calls and them say, play and turn it.
And one of the things, Matrix, you said in the social media post is that this ultimately affects the bottom line. It affects your ability to earn and also to deliver.
Yes.
So it affects your credibility.
Yes.
And then you're asking some question, who going to be responsible at the end of the day? So where else? I mean, social media, of course, is a very powerful space. I see it and I realize how serious it was that I think it's up to us to have this discussion across IRFM, if you will. I mean, it is our, when you talk about the music, when you talk about sound system, you can't even see this to any other radio station. This is ours to do. And if others pick up on it, then fine.
I come in from the days where sound system just play.
Right, but so now they talk about night noise, right?
A night noise thing come in, no problem. But what you do to give some leeway to the promoter and the sound man and the patrons.
And that go back to the point of both you met now, which is the venue.
The venue.
Because if you don't have the appropriate venue, then somebody will always be complaining about night noise.
And we don't even need venues. What I was saying you can just give us a space. Because what promoters do, is setting up them one land. So you just...
I've seen that. Yes. And sometimes the lawns are set up in urban areas, residential areas, or near to these areas.
Yes.
And you really have this consideration now of night noise.
Yes.
But if the spaces are made available outside of these areas, but close enough that people can get to
yes.
This is something that I would personally like to follow up with, but Shane, Matrix, I mean, the system would like to see a follow up on it too, because I think it is urgently.
Yep.
This calls for urgent conversation, and I'd like to see it happening.
I've been reasoning with others on TikTok, like we come together on the live sometime, like Fire Us from Stone Love, well, formerly of Stone Love.
Mm-hmm.
We reason sometime about farming back a sound system association.
That was effective, Mm-hmm. That was effective. I remember, I was doing music, news, and entertainment was in those days.
Promoters should do the same thing as well.
Yes. Well, you see the time.
Promoters association.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to survive, if promoters are going to survive, if sound system operators, event promoters, sound system operators, and the sound system, which is integral to Jamaica's musical history, development, and continuity.
Check this out. A little party, the promoter spend, and it get locked off. his money gone. But think about a bigger promoter now that spend a whole heap of money. That money gone. He broke down flat.
Exactly.
So it's
And
not only the permit money you worry about.
Yes.
Him spend money to do else things promote. All of that dead.
Yeah. It's a very serious issue. We're gonna leave it here for today, but I'm not leaving it totally. And I know that across IRFM and other media is something that to revisit. And I hope we'll pick it up from tomorrow morning. Yeah. Thank you for putting that out there, Matrix. This is how we say goodbye. Thank you, Shane. Muta, we'll see you next week when you come in. In the meantime, though, just to say that I'll be back tomorrow for Mutabaruka inside of a Stepping Razor. See you then. My name is Kabu. On behalf of Shane.
What up, my people? Big up on yourself. You don't know cutting edge style and you don't know so work hard in a real time. So that was, yeah man, Kabu, Mahat, Kheru. You understand? Sitting in for Mutabaruka. You know the thing come down with people. So you are going on, man. A real loving of people. Yeah man. Real love people. So you are going on. Please like, share, subscribe. Make this go 500 likes. Surprise me, my subscribers and all my enablers. I see you know I subscribe on the way to 7,000. You see me I say, yeah man. And you don't know, say 100,000 want to get to, you know. You see me I say, straight up to 1 million. So please like, share and subscribe. Share it to your grandmother, your grandfather, your loved ones. You see me I say, in a yard. You see the cat and the dog. Yard and abroad. Yeah me I say no man. Yeah, man, we take our ourselves right now. Away under my nose. I'm out like a candle.